I'm gonna read Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are by Dr. Seuss. Bloop. When I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man in the desert of Dries, and he sang me a song I will never forget. At least, well, I haven't forgotten it yet. Have you ever been to the desert? Oh my, he's sitting on a cactus. He sat in a terribly prickly place, but he sang with a sunny, sweet smile on his face. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, Ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, much more unlucky than you. That's actually true. Be glad you don't work on the Bungle Bungle Bridge that they're building across Boober Bay at Bum Ridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who're in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful a whole heaping lot for the places and people you're lucky you're not. hmm Look at that. Look at the bridge. Oh my, it's about to fall. That's quite risky. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Gazette and got caught in the traffic on Zate Highway 8. That's terrible traffic, right? How can you pass through that? Or suppose, just for instance, you live in Gazer with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there. So you're gonna walk down and down, and up. Oh my, that's a long way to go. Suppose, just suppose you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his Thromdimbulator apart. He never will get it together, I'm sure. He never will know if the geek or the gore fits in the scrux or the snux or the snore. Yes, Ducky, you're lucky you're not Herbie Hart, who has taken his Thrombulator apart. Thromdimbulator. Okay, sorry. Think they worked you too hard? Think of poor Ali Sard. There, that's Ali. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard, and it's quick growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. Huh? The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it, and all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving and mower around in that hay is the piffulous pay of 2 Douglas a day, and Ali can't live on such piffulous pay. So he has to paint flagpoles on Sundays in grooves. How lucky you are you don't live in his shoes. That's scary. No safety equipment. And poor Mr. Bix. Every morning at 6, poor Mr. Bix has his morphine to fix. What's a morphine? It doesn't seem fair, it just doesn't seem right, but his morphine just seems to go slump every night. It slumps in a heap, sadly needing repair. Bix figures it's due to the local night air. It takes him all day to unslump it, and then the night air comes back, and it slumps once again. So don't you feel blue, don't get down in the dumps. You're lucky you don't have a morphine that slumps. Uh-huh. And while we are at it, consider the sloths, the crumple-horned, web-footed, green-bearded sloths, whose tail is entailed with unsolvable knots. If he isn't muchly more worse off than you, I'll eat my umbrella, that's just what I'll do. That's just what... Oh my, look at his tail, it really is tied up in a knot. And you're lucky indeed you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a wammel. A wammel, you know, is a sort of a saddle held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old wammel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, Ducky, you're gone like a goose. Look at where they're passing through. Oh my, you have to be careful. And poor Mr. Potter, T crosser, I daughter, he has to cross T's and he has to dot I's in an INT factory out in Vanoise. Huh? That's a quite tiring job. Oh, the jobs people work out. Out west near Hodge Hodge, there's a Hodge Hodger bee watcher. His job is to keep both his eyes on the lazy town bee. A bee that is watched will work harder, you see. Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, that bee didn't work any hard, not much. Much? So then somebody said, our old bee watching man just isn't bee watching as hard as he can. He ought to be watched by another watcher. The thing that we need is a bee watcher watcher. Huh? Well, the bee watcher watched the bee watcher. He didn't watch well, so another watcher had to come in as a watcher. And today all the watchers who live in Watch are watching on watching watch. Watch the watcher who's watching that bee. You're not a watcher, you're lucky, you see. So this guy is watching this guy, watching this guy, watching. So that the bee will work properly. And how fortunate you're not Professor Debris, who has spent the past 32 years, if you please, trying to teach Irish ducks how to read Javanese. Right. And think of the poor puffing pugelhorn players who have to parade down the pugelhorn stairs every morning to wake up the Prince of Pubuken. It's awful how often their pugels get broken. Huh? And oh, just suppose you were poor Harry Hado. Try as he will, he can't make any shadow. He thinks that perhaps something's wrong with his G's, and I think that by golly there probably is. Huh? He does not have a shadow. There he is. Everyone has a shadow, but except him. And oh, the poor brothers Bazoo, you suppose your hair grew like theirs happened to do? You think you're unlucky? I'm telling you, Ducky, some people are muchly, oh, ever so muchly more unlucky than you. Look, the hair is connected to his beard, and so on, and so on. So they can't go to other places, I guess. And suppose that you live in the forest in France where the average young person just hasn't a chance to escape from the perilous pants-eating plants. But your pants are safe, you're a fortunate guy, and you ought to be shouting, how lucky am I? And speaking of plants, you should be greatly glad-ish. You're not Farmer Falkenberg's 17th radish. Why? And you're so lucky you're not Gucky Gown, who lives by himself 90 miles out of town. In the ruins of Ronk, Ronk is rather run down. 90 miles? And you're so lucky you're not a left sock left behind by mistake in the caverns of crop. What? Thank goodness for all of the things you are not. Thank goodness you're not something someone forgot and left all alone in some punkerish place like a rusty tin coat hanger hanging in space. Like that one. See, you're lucky because you're not that one. That's why I say, Ducky, don't grumble, don't stew. Some critters are much, oh, ever so much more unlucky than you. And that is how lucky you are. The end.